In the heart of a lush valley, surrounded by towering mountains and dense forests, lay the village of Stillwater. The village earned its name from the serene, mirror-like lake at its center, which reflected the sky and the surrounding hills with perfect clarity. Stillwater was a place of beauty and tranquility, but it was also a place where time seemed to stand still. The villagers lived simple lives, content with their routines, but few ever dared to dream beyond the boundaries of their small world. Among the villagers was a young man named Thomas. Thomas was different from the others. He had a restless mind, always buzzing with ideas and dreams. He imagined building a bridge across the lake to connect Stillwater to the outside world, creating a school to teach the children new skills, and even writing a book about the village's history. But despite his grand visions, Thomas struggled to take the first step. Laziness was his constant companion, whispering in his ear, "Why start today when you can start tomorrow?" Thomas's days were spent in a cycle of procrastination. He would wake up with a burst of enthusiasm, only to lose momentum by mid-morning. He would sit under the oak tree at the edge of the village, watching the world go by, and tell himself, "I'll start tomorrow." But tomorrow never came. One day, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, a stranger arrived in Stillwater. He was an old man with a long, flowing beard and eyes that sparkled with wisdom. The villagers gathered around him, curious about the newcomer. The old man introduced himself as Sage Alaric, a traveler who had journeyed far and wide in search of knowledge and truth. Thomas, intrigued by the sage's presence, approached him and shared his struggle. "Wise one," Thomas said, "I have so many dreams, but I can't seem to get started. Laziness always wins. What's the secret to overcoming it?" Sage Alaric listened intently, his eyes narrowing as if peering into Thomas's soul. After a moment of silence, he reached into his satchel and pulled out a small, ordinary-looking seed. "This is no ordinary seed," the sage said. "It holds the secret to winning laziness. But to unlock it, you must plant it, water it, and care for it every single day for 30 days. If you miss even one day, the seed will not grow, and the secret will remain hidden." Thomas was skeptical. How could a seed hold the answer to his problem? But he had nothing to lose, so he decided to give it a try. The next morning, he planted the seed in his backyard and watered it. The first few days were easy, but by the end of the first week, Thomas's laziness crept in. "What's the point? It's just a seed," he thought, tempted to skip a day. But then he remembered the sage's words, "If you miss even one day, the secret will remain hidden." Reluctantly, he dragged himself out of bed and watered the seed. Days turned into weeks, and Thomas began to notice something strange. The act of caring for the seed every day started to feel less like a chore and more like a ritual. He began to look forward to it, and soon, he found himself adding small tasks to his routine, cleaning his room, helping his neighbors, and even starting on a project he had been putting off for months. As the days passed, Thomas's life began to change in subtle but significant ways. The simple act of watering the seed every day had sparked a chain reaction. He started waking up earlier, feeling more energized and focused. He began to set small goals for himself, like reading a chapter of a book each day or practicing a new skill. Each completed task gave him a sense of accomplishment, and he found himself craving more. One day, as he was tending to the seed, Thomas noticed a small, green shoot emerging from the soil. His heart leapt with joy. The seed was growing, but more importantly, he realized that he was growing too. The discipline he had developed by caring for the seed had spilled over into other areas of his life. He was no longer the lazy, procrastinating young man he once was. He had become someone who took action, who followed through on his commitments, and who believed in the power of small, consistent efforts. On the 30th day, Thomas woke up early, eager to see if the seed had grown. To his surprise, a small, delicate sapling had emerged from the soil. But there was no magical fruit or glowing light, just a simple plant. Confused, Thomas returned to Sage Alaric. "I did everything you asked, but the seed only grew into a sapling. Where is the secret?" The sage chuckled. Look closer, Thomas. The secret was never in the seed. It was in you. By committing to one small action every day, you broke the cycle of laziness. You learned that consistency, no matter how small, leads to growth. The seed was just a tool to help you discover your own potential. Thomas realized the sage was right. The secret to winning laziness wasn't a magical solution or a burst of motivation. It was the daily choice to take action, no matter how small. From that day on, Thomas embraced the power of consistency. He went on to achieve his dreams, not because he was never lazy, but because he had learned to outsmart laziness one small step at a time. Thomas's transformation did not go unnoticed by the villagers. They saw the changes in him, the way he carried himself with confidence, the way he pursued his goals with determination, and the way he inspired others to do the same. Thomas became a role model in Stillwater, and the story of the seed spread throughout the village. One by one, the villagers began to plant their own seeds, both literally and metaphorically. They started small, committing to daily actions that would help them achieve their goals. Some planted gardens, others started businesses, and a few even began writing their own stories. The village of Stillwater, once a place where time stood still, became a hub of activity and growth. Thomas's bridge across the lake was eventually built, connecting Stillwater to the outside world. The school he dreamed of became a reality, and the children of the village learned new skills that would shape their futures. Thomas even wrote his book, chronicling the history of Stillwater and the lessons he had learned from the seed. As the village flourished, Sage Alaric prepared to leave. His work in Stillwater was done, and he had other villages to visit, other souls to guide. Before he left, he gathered the villagers for one final lesson. The seed was just a symbol, the sage said. The true secret to winning laziness lies within each of you. It is the daily choice to take action, no matter how small. It is the commitment to growth even when the path is difficult. And it is the belief that every small step you take brings you closer to your dreams. The villagers nodded, their hearts filled with gratitude and determination. They had learned the secret and they were ready to carry it forward. Years passed and the village of Stillwater continued to thrive. The lessons learned from the seed became a part of the village's culture, passed down from generation to generation. The bridge Thomas built became a symbol of connection and progress, and the school he founded became a beacon of knowledge and opportunity. Thomas's story spread beyond the village, inspiring people in far-off lands to plant their own seeds and take small, consistent actions toward their dreams. The ripple effect of his transformation reached far and wide, touching countless lives and reminding everyone that the secret to winning laziness was not in waiting for the perfect moment, but in creating it, one small step at a time. Thomas lived a long and fulfilling life, surrounded by the fruits of his labor. He often sat under the oak tree, now a towering symbol of growth and resilience, and reflected on his journey. He knew that the seed had been just the beginning, a spark that had ignited a fire within him. The true secret to winning laziness had always been within him, waiting to be discovered. And so, the story of Thomas and the seed became a timeless lesson, a reminder that the power to change lies in the small, consistent actions we take every day. It is a lesson that continues to inspire, a beacon of hope for anyone who has ever struggled with laziness or doubted their ability to achieve their dreams. For in the end, the secret to winning laziness is not in the grand gestures, but in the daily sparks that light the way.